Have you ever wondered how your body naturally repairs and rejuvenates itself? It all comes down to your stem cells, your body's built-in repair system that renews tissue, restores balance, and helps you feel your best. But by age 30, you have up to 90% fewer stem cells in circulation. That's where Stem Regen comes in. Founded by stem cell scientist and health pioneer Christian Drapeau, Stem Regen products are designed to support your body's natural repair system by using science-backed, plant-based extracts. Just 2 capsules of Stem Regen releases an average of 10 million of your own stem cells into your body. No injections, just 2 capsules. Empower your body to rejuvenate from within, whether you're focused on recovery, longevity, or just overall wellness. Stem Regen can help release more of your health, more life, and more of the best version of you. Try it now at stemregen.co and use code POD15 for 15% off your first order. That's StemRegen, code POD15.
Acast powers the world's best podcasts. Here's a show that we recommend.
Do you like being educated on things that entertain but don't matter? Well, then you need to be listening to the podcast with Knox and Jamie. Every Wednesday, we put together an episode dedicated to delightful idiocy to give your brain a break from all the serious and important stuff.
Whether we're deep diving a classic movie, dissecting the true meanings behind the newest slang, or dunking on our own listeners for their bad takes or cringy stories, we always approach our topics with humor and just a little bit of side eye, and we end every episode with recommendations on all the best new movies, books, TV shows, or music.
To find out more, just search up the podcast with Knox and Jamie wherever you listen to podcasts and prepare to make Wednesday your new favorite day of the week.
Acast helps creators launch, grow, and monetize their podcasts everywhere. Acast.com.
You guys, welcome to another episode of What's Your Issue? My name is Troy McKeety.
And I'm Doralane Sussman. Sorry, that was weird.
No.
I'm Darlene Sussman.
That was gorgeous.
Thank you.
So this week's episode is very special. We're doing something a little bit different. We're covering something that is so special to both of us. It's something that we both own. It's something that we share. And so yeah, it's not necessarily Dara or my issue. It's both of our issue. We are not only sisters in Christ, this week we are sisters in print.
So instead of one of us asking the other titular question, we will be holding hands, asking the Lord, asking the heaven in unison.
Dara?
Troy, what's our issue? Troy, that was seamless. That was gorgeous.
I am so excited to talk with you about the September 2006 issue of Playboy Magazine titled The Return of the Girls Next Door. This is major.
I mean, this is honestly the return of the Girls Next Door for us as well.
Mm-hmm.
This is a return to form. We really sort of solidified our friendship and bond over Playboy and the Girls Next Door.
Yeah, I would say like there's a bunch of stuff that you and I have podcasted about at this point. Bobby Brown, all kinds of random things. But I would say like the streamline of our friendship is Playboy and the Girls Next Door. I was like lucky enough to be on Do You Remember This for the first episode, the pilot, and the finale, which is like, I said it then and I'll say it now. I know what that means. It's major.
It's huge. I did a storytelling deep dive series on Playboy and the Girls Next Door on my other podcast. And then I also did a few recaps. And Troy came on for the beginning and the end because there's truly no one I could think of that like I would want to talk to more about it than the other half of my brain.
Agreed.
Troy McKeety.
Agreed. And I just have to say how lucky I feel to be able to, because I consider you, like, you're basically keeping Hef's scrapbooks alive. I mean, you are literally, like, you are the Playboy historian. I don't know anyone who knows more about Playboy than you. And I'm just very honored to, like, talk about this with you because you have such an extensive knowledge of, like, all things Playboy, so.
Thank you. This September 2006 issue, I mean, it's so burned in my memory. It was my favorite. It's so adorable. It's the one where the three of them are in a window, like as the true girls next door, and they're looking out the window, And then if you flip it over, it's a double cover where the back is their butts. They're in the house and they're looking out the window. It truly innovation at its finest.
Is this your favorite of their covers?
I would say yes, definitely, without a doubt. It's also like the cutest. It's the most, I don't know, my aesthetic. You know, it's pink and white and girly. Is this your favorite?
Oh, for sure. Yeah, it's definitely. I mean, it also is like the theme is just, it embodies them.
Mm-hmm.
Like it sort of like encapsulates like the entire, this whole era. It encapsulates like what it means to be like a Playboy girl. Like it embodies the girl next door thing that is Playboy. I just think like it couldn't be better. Like I just think that it couldn't be more perfect. And the fact that it's a front and back cover, I just think I always thought, even when I was a teenager, I was like, that is the coolest thing ever. And it seems so like, obviously there's an episode about the shooting of this cover on Girls Next Door, and it's one of my favorite episodes. Any photo shoot episode I like love. And I just remember being so shocked at like how like hard it was to capture a front and back image of the same thing. Like you would think that they just turned around and like, or the camera guy just like went behind them and took the picture, but it was like so difficult.
I was listening to Girls Next Level and Holly was discussing how they did it. It was something like the photographer Arnie Freytag, who was, you know, like kind of the number one photographer throughout the history of the magazine, pretty much. He had like a monitor that like shot the back, so he could see in the monitor what the back looked like, and then was shooting it from the front, and there were people in the back like doing the lighting back there. Because I mean, I never thought of it this way either, is just the lighting aspect of it, to not have the shadows, to have it correctly lit on both sides, then to also not have anyone showing through the window, like the people in the back that are holding the lights and are holding the bounce screens and stuff. Yeah, it's very involved. Now, Holly did say on Girls Next Level that they didn't even end up using the corresponding picture, which everyone seemed pretty upset about. Apparently, the powers that be at the top were like, there's crossed wires, and they just picked like a sort of similar shot for the back.
You know, speaking of Arnie, it's like, I'm looking at this picture, and I mean, this is a very homosexual opinion of Playboy. Like, I know that people read Playboy because there's a bunch of naked women in it, but the photography and the style of photography in a Playboy magazine is so specific to Playboy to me. Like, even in comparison to like Hustler and other like sex forward magazines, like the Playboy photography is just so like old Hollywood to me. And they're like even like way beyond the digital era, they were still using like the big giant old school lights and like film, and it's just, there's just nothing really like it. It's like real photography, you know?
Yeah, and it's funny that it is a men's magazine and that straight men did genuinely enjoy it, because it does feel very much through kind of like a gay man's lens of, this is sexy, of a naked woman, and it's actually kind of, it just feels more glamorous than anything else.
Yes.
Like the posing, like if you look at a Hustler magazine, the posing is so much more erotic and explicit.
Yeah.
And in Playboy, it's so much more demure. I did not mean to use demure as in the zeitgeist way. I mean,
but it works.
It does work. But it's, and also like in Hustler, like in the 70s, there was the pubic wars between the men's magazines, where prior to this, no one had shown pubic hair in a nude magazine. And then Hustler started doing it and Playboy started doing it, and then they stopped. But then they went back to it. Just the way they shoot, you know, I will use the technical term, vaginas.
Pasta vaginal.
It's very photoshopped. It's very smoothed out. You're not seeing any Thomas's English muffins. No nooks and crannies. So it honestly, and looking at it now, looking at Playboys now, it almost feels quaint. It doesn't feel that
Like sexual? Yeah,
it
no.
Really, and I know it's different now because we have internet porn, so the bar has been raised as to what is actually titillating. You know, I don't have the perspective of being in the 70s or 80s and not having access to porn so readily to where a magazine would like really get you horned up.
Right.
But yeah, it's like it feels very quaint sexually.
I think that that's a perfect way to describe it, because when I go through Playboy, I do, in my mind, I'm like, how, like, it's like almost odd for me to imagine a man looking at it even in like a sexual way, which is crazy. Like when I look at Holly Madison dressed up as Marilyn Monroe, I'm like, was somebody jerking off to this? Like, it's like you said earlier, it's so like glamorous more than anything, and like the nudity almost feels like an afterthought to the lighting and the hair and the makeup and the Photoshop, and like it just feels so gay. Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Or even when you do look at like a vagina in Playboy, it's like I remember it always being a thing where like it's a hustler thing for the vagina to be like spread open.
Yeah.
Or for the legs to be open and for you to just be looking at like a spread eagle vagina. Like, that's not the Playboy vagina.
No. I honestly, any moms out there, please sound off. I wonder today if you were to go in, say, like your 12-year-old, 13-year-old son's bedroom and you found Playboys under his bed, would you even be mad? I feel like I'd be like, oh, honey, keep it. I'm just glad you're looking at this and not some poor young woman being choked on the internet.
No, for sure. I mean, yeah, it can be 80,000 times worse. If anything, your kid would walk in on you like with your legs crossed on their bed reading it.
Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah. Absolutely. But one more thing about this cover is also, like you said earlier, how much it sort of exemplifies the girls next door. This is also a cover that Holly designed. Like, it was her idea to do the front and back. And in this issue, the three of them all got to sort of conceptualize their own shoots.
Yeah, I know it's obviously something that you and I are going to talk about a lot in this episode, but there is a world where Holly was like in the good graces of Playboy at the end and was able to like continue, you know, doing the photo shoots and stuff, because I just think there's nobody in the world, there's no person, living or dead, that could have taken over in the way that Holly would have. Like, it's such a layered thing, because not only did Holly and Bridget and Kendra introduce like an entirely new generation to Playboy in a different way through like a really cool early 2000s pop culture kind of like I have a Playboy belly ring kind of way.
Yeah.
There's that aspect of it, and then also there's nobody who respects the culture of Playboy and like what Hef wanted more than Holly.
Well, and she also so understands what is fun and interesting and engaging about nostalgia. I mean, she's really a gal after our own heart.
For sure.
She really appreciates the nostalgia and has a respect for it. And a magazine like Playboy, you have to have the nostalgia and the iconography at the center of it, but then also modernize it. And I think that she already had a really great grasp on that. And if she had really been in charge in a real way, if people really trusted her, I think that, I don't know, I think it would have been really great. But unfortunately, Playboy was not that kind of company, and nor was Hef.
They don't like Holly for some reason. I don't know why. I can't put my finger on it. But I will say, I truly believe in my entire heart that if it was her in charge, they wouldn't have like, I mean, I feel like you could definitely see Playboy sort of like losing its steam and losing its footing officially when they got rid of nudity.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh shit. There were cool aspects of what they were trying to do. Like, there were certain things that I really respected about like that weird era of like post Girls Next Door. Even them like, I mean, this is a selfish thing, but even them letting Sky Ferreira like do her own shoot. Like, she did the creative, she did the wardrobe, the lighting, she hired the photographer, like, and it's a really cool photo shoot. That's cool. And like, that would have been an interesting way for them to like step into the new age, but they just kind of seem to like lose their identity.
God, I would love if Holly could take over. So Playboy is just announced, really, like in the last week or so, that they were going to start doing, I think it's either yearly or quarterly print issues again.
Oh, okay.
I would love if they brought on Holly as a creative consultant or something, because I don't know, I think if people really approach this in the way Hollywood as a sort of nostalgic kind of throwback, and like, yes, we are going to have nudity in it, but having it sort of be like a fan service in a way to, and also a fan service to women and gay men, the people that got into Playboy, especially in the early 2000s, with the sort of brand shift that happened because of the girls next door. Because ultimately, I think, like we've been talking about, men are not going to whack off to this. They have their things.
Especially now. They're good.
They're good. The people who will be excited about this and will buy copies, it's people like us.
Yeah, it's true. And now Hef's no longer with us. You don't have some man who hates women at the forefront where everybody has to pretend that women aren't an important factor in Playboy when it is literally the only aspect of the I mean, it's just so ridiculous. But no, I totally agree with you. I don't think anybody would nail the nostalgia and the sort of like callbacks to old school Playboy, because not only is Holly, it's like not only does she have that like ability, she's also like a pop culture girly, and she has an encyclopedic knowledge of this magazine already. I know hell would freeze over before it ever happened, but it's a missed opportunity, honestly.
I mean, they're so stupid to keep this stick in their craw over Holly and everything, because at the end of the day, the people carrying on the Playboy legacy is, you know, like Holly and Bridget, like with the Girls Next Level podcast, like, sure, are they critical of a lot of it? Yeah, but they're also very reverent of the overall impact on culture and the history of it. And all the people who still care about Playboy, for the most part, it's fans of them.
1000%. And they're the ones reminding people of like the weight of it. Like a lot of younger people, I hear Bridget say this all the time, that like younger people don't really understand the honor that it was to be asked to be in Playboy, like how big of a deal it was, the headlines that it would make. There's like nothing really comparable to it now. But like we still, for, you know, like 40 years, we're living with this idea that if you do Playboy, then you become Pam Anderson, or you become Anna Nicole, or you become Jenny McCarthy. Like, you can literally name the like handful of women that it worked out for really positively on one hand, but either way, that was like very effective and had a huge impact on us.
Well, and it was also so aspirational in the sense of there's a lot of things in media that you could be asked to do that is a coup. But Playboy was kind of the only thing that the girl next door had a shot at doing. Yeah. And now when I say that, I do mean a certain type of looking woman, a very narrow bucket of regular person could be considered for it. But it was something that little girls, you hear this all the time, little girls, you know, in the 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s would find a Playboy under their father's bed, and they'd look through it and they'd say, I want to be in Playboy someday, which is wild. And a lot of, you could just send your picture in. Like, you could send in a homemade picture that your boyfriend took of you, and you could end up in the magazine. And you could have your dreams of stardom, that you would be, you know, the next Pam Anderson, and that barely ever happened. But you could still have that dream. And I don't know, I think Playboy was very much predicated on an aspirational lifestyle. There was the aspiration of being the Playboy, which was very much, the magazine was the embodiment of a persona of the Playboy, and then the aspirational quality of being the woman that the Playboy finds attractive, and if you were in that magazine, that was your stamp of approval that you are beautiful and worthy and blah, 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 in a very narrow, heteronormative, white, thin sort of way.
Well, especially by the time we were like kids, like the Playboy look. Because I feel like post Pam, the Playboy look really solidified, right? Like,
yeah, 90s, when it's post Pam, it's very blonde. It's bleach blonde.
Yeah.
It's the girls, our girls next door.
yeah, it's hard for me to even kind of wrap my head around, like, just because we didn't live through it. So it's hard for me to wrap my head around the idea that these women in like the 70s and 80s, like, believed that, like, they believed the Playboy dream, even though there weren't as many like tangible thing, like people that you could look at and say it worked for her, you know?
Yeah.
Like, I mean, post Pam is one thing. Post Anna Nicole, sure, like we were all eating that up. But before that, I'm like, what was your example of somebody who to strive for that wasn't literally murdered?
Yeah, no, you're completely right because Hef was always talking about, you know, throughout the history of the magazine, like, oh, that this is some sort of stepping stone, and that when you would come and shoot your pictorial, like that was the sort of promise and company line that was fed to you that like this is a stepping stone to even greater success, which is what Hef wanted more than anything. But that had never really panned out until Dorothy Stratton, who ended up being murdered just as she was starting to take off. So she would have been that example, but then she's killed and there's no one for like, I don't know, like 15 years, 20 years maybe until Pam. I don't know, maybe because Marilyn started out on the cover, even though, of course, she was not discovered by Playboy.
Right.
Hef bought those pictures that were taken before she was famous and put them on the cover of the magazine after she had become famous. So it's not as if Playboy discovered her. I guess it was just the overall sort of brand ethos. You know, it's not just the magazine, like even just working at the Playboy Club was considered like a coup. When in reality, you're getting paid shit to waitress in a corset and high heels, which sucks.
Yeah.
You're not really getting any perks there, except for the fact that you can say that it's almost kind of similar to, I don't know, like being in a big sorority at a college and being like, well, I'm in this great sorority. And it's like, okay, well, that's nice, I guess.
Right. And like all the girls bully you and you hated it and it like gave you an eating disorder and mental health issues and all this stuff.
Yeah.
But you can still say that you were in it.
You can still say you were a tri-delt, and that is worth something.
No, that's like the perfect way to put it. And also, I'm happy that you brought up the Playboy clubs because like when I think about Playboy and I think about like if I was like a young girl, there's so many different aspects of Playboy that I could see myself having been brainwashed by.
Yeah.
But the Playboy clubs, I would have wanted in on that. I would have wanted in on the action, not realizing that it's an absolute hellscape. I would have thought that was so cool.
I absolutely. You know what it is? It's also really similar to, actually, I just thought of this, is like NFL cheerleading. Where they're very open about the fact that, not in mainstream culture, but if you are in the world of NFL cheerleading, what they tell you is, yeah, you're getting paid essentially, it all shakes out below minimum wage. You're getting paid shit because this is a privilege.
Yeah.
This is a privilege. And if you don't want to take this, someone else will, you know, exact same sort of vibe at Playboy.
You guys can't see it, but I just did the full Thunderstruck dance on mute. And I'm in the splits right now. My hands are pointed up towards the sky. Thunderstruck!
Troy, where'd you get those pom-poms?
I'm trying to lose the weight, I swear. I haven't been eating that much and I have been working out. I promise you.
Troy Sue, if you don't lose 10 before Sunday, I swear to God, I'm not putting you on that field.
Troy Sue. Do you want to get to the articles?
Yeah, let's dive in. So we're going to start with page 11, and it says, The World of Playboy, Hef Sightings, Mansion Frolics, and Nightlife Notes. First of all, this magazine is like, it says Hef Sightings. This magazine it feels almost like a fanzine of Hef, except like he's making it and curating it. Like it's so much like Hef is sort of the the celebrity at the center of this magazine. Like the next page on page 12 is hanging with Hef.
Well, the whole thing is like, it's almost like the whole magazine exists to, now that we know Hef so well, for me, it's like everything always goes back to his scrapbooks. Because like the narcissism, not scrapbooking isn't narcissistic, but to want every single day of your life to be documented so that people don't have, like, so basically so that when you die, you still have control over your image.
Yeah.
It's so like Marvel villain. And
also to assume that all of those scrapbooks will be, like put in a museum.
Yeah. Do you really think that people are going to want to know what happened at the 1999 Easter party, like to such intricate detail? It's just like funny. But
well, I guess we should also say to those who are not as well versed in Playboy as we are, which I feel like we are not realizing that not everyone is mega obsessed.
Yes.
Hef was obsessed with scrapbooking to such a minute, detailed degree where he had a scrapbooking room and like a scrapbooking essentially wing where it was scrapbooks of practically every single day throughout his adult life. Like he was scrapbooking kind of since day one. And they had, I think, like 3 or 4 quote unquote archivists on staff. These people were, working on the scrapbooks, pulling any mention of Hef from newspapers or whatever. And then they also had a videographer who was always taking video of parties and just like they're going out. And there would be people who would take all of that footage and organize it and put that away in VHSs or whatever. So he was completely obsessed.
Yeah, and the magazine feels like an extension of Hef's scrapbooking. I mean, even like pages like this, the World of Play, like the Hef sightings and stuff, like it's not only an extension of his scrapbooking and his obsession with like curating his own image and being in control of how people view him, but it works as I would say like one of the most important aspects of Playboy. And this is where Hef reminds me a lot of Donald Trump in a lot of ways.
Oh, yeah.
Is like his association with famous people, his connection to famous people, famous people's connection to him and how they desire him and they want him. And, you have people like Kid Rock on this page who want to go to Hef's parties. And Kid Rock is so cool, but he wants to be with Hef because Hef is the coolest guy in all of Hollywood. It's very like... It's a very effective tool, if you will.
And realistically, as a lay person from the outside, you would look at Hef as like, oh, that is the coolest guy. Everybody in Hollywood loves him. Like, look at them all coming to the parties. When in actuality, he was widely considered something of a star fucker.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, the celebrities were coming to his house and partying, but it was kind of just like, if we want to be at these parties, these huge parties, we want to take advantage of the perks of having 23-year-old women from middle America looking for a leg up in the industry, like having them strewn about the house.
Mm-hmm. Nobody wants really to be around you because Kid Rock doesn't think that you're so cool. He wants to go to your mansion and fuck young girls and smoke cigars. Like, like on the Hangin' with Hef page, which is the page Dara mentioned, page 12, you have him with like, so this is photos from an Easter party, and you have him with like Fred Durst and Whoopi Goldberg and Tony Bennett. And it's just like, these photos are here in scrapbook fashion, mind you. But these photos exist to help fan the flame of his public image, especially at this point in his life when he's, hanging on by a literal thread. And this 90-year-old man has a lot to prove,
Yeah. I do wonder at the end of his life, like how much he was thinking about the final days of solidifying his legacy. Or if he was just like, whatever, it's already, I'm good to go. He was such a insecure man. I do wonder if he ever was like, yes, I've done enough. I feel like he didn't ever feel like, yes, I can rest now.
No, it sounds like, especially just from listening to Holly and Bridget read Crystal's book, it sounds like he kind of had like a Paul Sheldon Misery style kind of death where he was like in bed and like looking out his window and watching the world pass him by and wondering why, because Crystal had kind of like stopped allowing people to come over, and she had started like controlling the guest list. So, Fred Durst couldn't just show up. Like, it was a lot different, and the parties had really died down. Like, everything had kind of come to like a halt, and it suddenly wasn't really cool anymore to come to the Playboy Mansion. And I feel like he laid in bed wondering, like, did I make the biggest fucking mistake of my life at the very end?
Yeah. I mean, also, I'm so glad that Holly got out when she did and everything. But if he had treated her better and in that way she was able to stay until his death, I mean, sorry, bud, you would have had a much nicer passing.
Yeah. I mean, Holly would have given him the last few years of his life that he probably had dreamt of.
Yeah.
But instead he was like hog-tied to his bed and like being told to eat his grapefruit and shut the fuck up. You know what I mean?
By like a 25-year-old.
Right. That's so evil. Not us laughing at elder abuse.
Listen, this is the one situation where,
Yeah. Neither here nor there or whatever.
Now on page 15, this is our letters to the editor segment, and we are pleased to report we have our first letter to the editors.
And it's a good one.
And it's such a good one. So we're going to start by reading and discussing that briefly, and then we will get to the Dear Playboy letters. So this says, a letter to the editor, parentheses, kinda, question mark? Nah, mostly me gagging over you guys. You've got us. We're hooked.
Hell, you had us at gagging.
But this comes from Robin Clark in Canada. It says, hi, Troy and Dara. I just wanted to say that I love your podcast so much. My name is Robin Clark, and I'm a Canadian historian that specializes in fan studies and magazine studies / magazine ethnography, which is basically how magazines can be used to observe, document, and analyze human behavior, in my case, for fans. And she says, you're both curators and preservers of actual historical artifacts with your magazine collections, and I love that. Someday your collections could be used to uncover the secrets of American mid-20th and early 21st century media.
Oh, my God. Goosebumps.
And then she goes on to say, I actually just finished my master's thesis on fan magazines of the 20th century, mostly Frank Sinatra, Elvis, and the Beatles fanzines, focusing specifically on how the letters to the editor section is an essential historical source for magazine scholars. They give a window into the narrative of the current cultural climate from a regular person's perspective that we may otherwise not have. Keep doing this segment on your show because you have no idea how important it is for a certain sect of academics. I mean...
Wow. First of all, what a cool, like, job and passion and thing to, like... That's like so, you're like living some version of our dream in a sense.
Truly.
It's very cool.
Thank you so much for writing in, Robin. You're our inaugural letter, and it was so nice. And I love the reinforcement. We're doing good. We're being little smart girls.
Listen, I can only hope that when the world ends, like some alien picks up like a 17 magazine with Whitney Houston on the cover, and like that's how they discover our culture.
When you think about it, magazines are just such an incredible way to look back on a time period categorized by either months or weeks. Like you're getting the sort of nitty gritty cultural insights that, we can even look at sort of quote unquote Y2K nostalgic culture now. So much of it, like if you were an alien and you came down, you might think, so this was just like 90% Paris, Brittany and Lindsay, like bimbo summiting, like you would see the big headline moments, and yet there's all these really interesting smaller events and pieces of media and stuff that, they're just very small, so they're not heavily documented, but magazines, they're the scrapbooks.
Well, you're also getting you're getting the politics, you're getting the fashion, you're getting the brands and like the cool products, like you're getting such an array of things that it really is like a little time capsule, because it like the music, the film discussion, the advertisements for movies that are coming out. Like, I mean, even the letters to the editors, the one that I'm going to read it is such a perfect time capsule letter to the editor,
Ooh.
Should I just do it?
Hit me with it.
So it's titled Your Space. It says, although 2006, a MySpace odyssey from June, perfectly portrays the first week or two of using the site, I take issue with Dave Iskoff's dismissive attitude towards the music section. As a member of a local unsigned band, I find MySpace to be a great networking tool. I regularly walk downtown now and feel like a rock star when people say, it's the drummer from Catharsis. I have you guys on MySpace. So that was from Corey Granger. That's actually, there's a quick little follow-up that says, while the subject featured in the Women of MySpace June issue are lovely, I'm disappointed that they don't reflect the range of women on the site. Some nerdy, some curvy, some punky. Your pictorial could have been called models who happen to have a MySpace page. I love that. That's from Daniel Papp in Plainsboro. And what a perfect way to sum up the social media of the time, the MySpace of it all, the culture of MySpace, which was definitely the sort of like the anti-Playboy, really, because you had like the MySpace version of that would have been like the Suicide Girls, which Hef would never ever put in his magazine. But he still has to acknowledge that MySpace exists and that every model is using it. And their way of doing that is to feature a bunch of pretty women that have a MySpace page.
God, and it must have been like putting a gun to his head to try and talk about that, because truly that was a little bit like taking some of the power out of his hands to see the world changing where women could be more in control of like putting themselves out there and getting exposure. The gatekeeping was starting to be pivoted towards the women themselves.
Can you imagine how much he would hate OnlyFans?
Oh, I love it.
He would be like, burn it. Like, he would be like, we need to make sure that site gets taken down immediately.
There was one woman who was a model, Playboy model. I think she was a Playmate of the Year at one point, but I believe in like the early 2000s, she had basically like kind of conceived of her own OnlyFans and built a website and was selling pictures of herself and like basically what you do on OnlyFans. And she was obviously like advertised herself as Playboy's Playmate of the Year, whatever year. And Hef sued her that she was like using the moniker that like it is insane that like she doesn't get to own that moniker that she was a Playmate of the Year. He was trying to sue her for using that in connection with what he deemed pornography, which, you know, what he was doing was so above common pornography. And then like pretty soon after, he's starting like cyber stuff. Now I will say Playboy now is essentially OnlyFans.
Well, even still, like, even with like the Playboy, like, what was it called? What was the internet version of Playboy called? Like being a cyber girl.
It was Playboy.com, but it was if you were a model, you were a cyber girl.
Even being a cyber girl, there was a very distinct, like, it was very clear that they weren't really affiliated with Playboy. Like, even back then, it felt like they were like the lesser, like, if you couldn't make it onto the magazine, you could be a cyber girl. Or like I was like listening to Holly and Bridget talk about this not that long ago. I think in one of their more recent episodes, they were talking about how like the cyber girls like didn't even know who they were. Like, you know what I mean? Like, and even the people who were like working for Playboy.com and like doing all that stuff, he like didn't know anything going on there because he didn't care.
Yeah, and it was also, I feel like it was kind of Playboy evolving under Hef's nose and him just like not paying any attention to it, so like not embracing it in the way that he could have and should have. But because they were, you know, sometimes the alternative girls,
right?
They weren't falling in line with Hef's vision of the perfect woman, even though as the time was moving on, as you know, we're in the 90s and grunge and like people's attitudes towards tattoos and things like that are changing. Hef's never did.
He wants Sandra D, but like also the whore. He wants the Madonna whore, always.
Yeah, he wants Sandy in the street and Tila Tequila in the sheets.
Yeah, I literally. He like wants the smoking Sandy, but like he doesn't want anybody to see her smoking.
Yes, absolutely. So moving on forward, on page 43, we have the Playboy Forum. People used to say about Playboy, they would joke that I read it for the articles. And what that meant was Playboy was known for, besides the naked ladies, they actually did have highbrow, highfalutin, intellectual articles, short stories by very respected authors, interviews with presidents. They interviewed, Martin Luther King Jr. And so in this one, again, a great window into the time period. This Playboy Forum, it's almost like a magazine within a magazine where there's a bunch of little things that are like politically minded. So they have on page 44 an imbalance of power. It says, no single act speaks more to the decay of congressional power than President Bush's unprecedented use of signing statements. And then on the next page, 45, they talk about, it's called Abortion and You. Roe v. Wade protects a lot more than you think. And it sort of discusses what would happen if Roe v. Wade was overturned. Luckily, we have no idea. This is truly just fantasy.
It's all fanfic, of course.
And like they have an interview with the ex-head of FEMA, and this is post Hurricane Katrina, and they're discussing that. It's interesting because you flip through Playboy Forum with all of these important articles, and then you flip just one page forward. You're talking about coal miners, and on page 58, one night as Paris with nude pictures of the foremost Paris Hilton impersonator.
Let's talk about her for a second. Let's talk about now, if you are of a particular age, you have probably seen the world's most successful Paris Hilton impersonator on like a reality show. I want to say she was like on Paris's BFF. Like
she was on The Simple Life too.
Yeah, she was on an episode of The Simple Life. She was the one. I mean, she was. We don't really talk about her anymore, but she was. Her name, by the way, is Natalie Reed. And now, on a scale of 1 to 10, just your personal opinion, how much do you think that this girl looks like Paris Hilton? Just straight on. Like, how much if you were walking by her on the street, would you think it was Paris?
I wouldn't think it was Paris because I know every inch of her face. I think this woman, I think she has some really great angles. And then I think she has other angles where, like, I don't know, she looks maybe a little bit more like a Gummer sister. But there are certainly some angles, like on the first and second page, no. Her first two photos, I don't think it looks like her. I think the picture of her in front of, like, opening the door to the hotel suite, I think that looks like her. And of course, the photo of her in a bed with a camcorder on a tripod, hearkening to her sex tape. I think that one looks the most like her.
I mean, that's the one. That's the one that'll get her.
That's the money shot, as they
She got gigs from that. Yeah. She's booked and busy from that. So just to give you guys an idea of this photo shoot, so they kind of like, they have all these different pictures that are meant to embody like different public-facing identity traits of Paris Hilton. So you have like there's one of her holding a dog that is supposed to mimic Tinkerbell, but is this pot-bellied, big-ass chihuahua that looks like the top. I mean, it's
huge.
It is not giving Tinkerbell energy whatsoever.
I will say she really looks like a Madame Tussauds Paris Hilton in that picture.
Okay. Yes. Yes. It's like Uncanny Valley vibes.
Yeah.
And then we have a picture of her like kind of leaned up against a Simple Life style truck. It might be the least Paris photo. There's another one of her like in her, I guess, like what's supposed to look like her like in a hotel.
Yeah.
Like a really nice hotel, like at a presidential suite. At a presidential suite Hilton, maybe, if you will. Again, holding Tinkerbell. My personal favorite is like this picture that's supposed to embody her at a nightclub, but it's like if she decided to completely strip fully nude while dancing at the VIP section of a nightclub.
I will say there are some stories that not so far off from her just taking off her dress and dancing with it.
Or in photos as well.
Yeah.
And then the last picture, of course, is the one that Dara explained. It's like supposed to look like a still from her sex tape. And just like the logistics of this, it's like so incredibly inappropriate. Like, I can't believe that this is a something that is legal, because it's like really, like, it's like really not okay, in my opinion.
It's the early 2000s to today's like deep fake porn.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. Yeah.
Yeah, it's the analog deep fakes. The reason why it's kind of extra icky is the fact that it was very widely known that Hef had asked Paris multiple times to be in Playboy, and she always refused, which, you know, especially for a person who had her sex tape out there and wanted to protect her body and have it disseminated in a way that she wanted to have that taken away from her is like, yeah, it's not good.
No, and like, I've always felt like, especially when you look at pictures of Paris, like, you know, at the mansion, there's like videos of her like singing happy birthday to Hef at the mansion and stuff. I always felt like Paris sort of would pride herself on the fact that she was like the physical embodiment of everything that Hef loves.
Yeah.
But that she wouldn't, she
give
was
it
above,
to him.
Yeah, she wouldn't give it to him. Like, she was above being in the magazine. Like, it was like this, I know you want me so bad, and I come to these parties and I look like your dream girl, but you're not going to get me.
And now, especially to sort of put it into context, well, actually, okay, this is just dawning on me. So I was going to say, to put it into context, you know, in 2003, 2004, Paris is so famous. She's everywhere. I feel like maybe in a little bit of a way, Hef sort of looked at her as like a modern, and I know this is going to sound kooky, like a modern Marilyn Monroe.
Totally.
And he got Marilyn by any means necessary. He got her pictures through means that were not approved by her. And then, so this is 2006. So he has already waited, I would say probably a couple years, probably has asked her several times at this point, please be in the magazine. He got the sense that it's never going to happen. So he said, well, fuck this. I'm getting you in there, come hell or high water.
Yeah.
And that is also a very important thing to discuss about the magazine, is Hef's history of putting women in the magazine in non-consensual ways. And he really found some roundabout ways. Like, this is the craziest roundabout way. Marilyn, taking her photos that she had already shot and putting them in the magazine after she had become famous. He did that with tons and tons of women. I mean, I think we discussed it in a previous episode. He did that to Jerry Halliwell. He did that to Madonna, Suzanne Summers, who almost got fired off of Three's Company because of it. And then in this magazine, and I think it's in pretty much every issue, another roundabout way was, what page is it on? 28. It was like a little thing called tease frame, and they would find nudity in a movie of an actress, of like a known actress, and they would pull a still from it.
Oh, yeah.
I have one magazine. They had pulled a nude still from something that was like, it wasn't like Sophie's Choice, but it was like something like kind of akin to it, where it was like, okay, this nudity can't be fun. Like, this isn't an erotic thriller that you're pulling nudity from. This is like a serious movie with nudity in it, which is just completely inappropriate, because these are actresses who are putting their body out there in a specific artistic format, and it's getting pulled out of context and just like put in a magazine.
It just like really shows what Hef thought of women.
Oh, yeah.
And like, even with Paris, I'm like, that in his mind, he was like, I know that you're like a nasty whore. Just give me your fucking nude body. Just give it to me. Like, I've seen you drunk at my parties. Give it to me. Like, the entitlement that I'm sure he felt over her, and I'm sure the confusion of like, why, like, you're always at my house and you dress like a Playboy girl, and just give me your naked body.
I think this was like a very common theme that I feel like Holly has discussed, where he didn't understand that just because you put your body out there in one context doesn't mean that you consent to every other context. Whereas he looked at it as, if you have displayed your naked body in this way, then that means all bets are off. One way she described it was in The Girls Next Door, where they just started sort of like filming them changing and stuff. And then they started putting it in the show, pixelated, but then in the DVDs, it was uncensored. And to them, it was like, what the fuck? Like, yes, we put our naked bodies in the magazine, but this is our naked bodies, like, in action, walking, moving around. It's on DVDs of a TV show targeted to young girls. Like, I don't feel comfortable with my likeness and body being used in this way. And he just did not see it as such.
Which then resulted in them being, like, in, like, porn pop-ups and shit, like, on Pornhub as, like, advertised, you know, in porn. And it's like, isn't that the whole embodiment of what you hate? Isn't that literally, like, don't you hate that, Hef?
He only hates it when he didn't think of it. Well, actually, interestingly enough, that we discussed this, is there's a woman in here. It's on page 147, and the headline is Playmate News. And it just has little blurbs about, you know, as it describes, Playmate News. And one of the things is they talk about this model, Christy Tom, who has become a painter. And it's just like talking about her work. That woman, Christy Tom, was actually in Secrets of Playboy. And she was an Asian model. She's alive. In an article, I don't know if she talked about this in the actual docuseries, but in an article, she talks about how, you know, how women were sort of pushed into doing the Playboy videos if they had gotten into the magazine, whether they wanted to do it or not. And she was in this video that was called, I believe, like Asian Erotica. And I saw stills of it. It's like tough.
Damn.
And she was talking about how, like, that's all over porn sites to this day. And, like, she already didn't want to do it and was just sort of, like, coerced into it.
Those videos are so, they're so just cheesy and awkward and weird. Like, they are they feel dated no matter what time period you're looking at them.
But yeah, like, you know, he didn't like porn unless he was getting paid for it.
For sure. Yeah, unless it's Anna Nicole in a bathtub with rose petals, like, bouncing her boobs, like.
Yeah. I will also say the Paris lookalike. I did see an interview with her, like, I don't know, it was like maybe more like 2009 or something. And she talks about how she had to dye her hair brown and how she lost all sense of self. And, like, it was a huge blow to her self-esteem to be famous for someone who wasn't her.
Yeah.
How weird that was. So Natalie Reid, I hope you're out there and you're doing well.
I wonder what Natalie Reid thinks of, like, the Ariana Grande impersonators. And, like, now there's, like, people who have, like, a whole internet presence. And, like, they claim, it's like they try and say that they just do it for fun. But, like, that Ariana Grande girl has literally gotten, like, face work. So it's like, you are a little beyond doing this for fun, girl.
No, yeah, this was truly a situation of, like, just an opportunity. Like, everyone was telling her she looked like Paris. And then people were offering her jobs because she, like, Paris was that famous at the time. But she, like, wanted to be an actress and a model.
There is one little excerpt from this. Her interview was 2 sentences long. And then it's just her naked. But there is a funny little excerpt from this that I wanted to read where they say, they're like, you may have heard of Natalie already. The 21-year-old Winnipeg-born beauty is the world's foremost Paris Hilton lookalike. She has passed for Paris at fashion shows, clubs, restaurants, and parties, as well as in photo shoots and on camera interviews. All she has to do is dress to the nines and walk out of her door and the paparazzi come running. Naturally, our curiosity got the better of us. We had to see if this Paris was as delicious with her clothes off as the real one. They say a few answers to your questions. Yes, Natalie has seen the tape. Yes, she is single. And yes, she has met Paris. She said, her reps got in contact with me, Natalie said. She invited me to her house in West Hollywood. We hung out, and she was in total shock, like, staring at me, taking a lot of pictures. Still being a ringer for the world-class sex symbol isn't always a gas. Natalie has to wear a brown wig if she wants to walk around without drawing crowds in New York and Los Angeles. Her 2 current hometowns, she plans on reinventing herself in the future so she can do more modeling and TV jobs as Natalie, not Paris. When not working, Natalie keeps up on baseball and Formula One racing. She loves to travel. What's the one place that she's looking forward to visiting? Paris. Naturally. I just love that they're like, that she was like, yeah, I met Paris, and she was like staring at me and taking pictures. Paris was probably so mean to her.
Can you imagine? I mean, I bet she was very nice to her face, and then was like laughing, texting her friends on her sidekick. Like, oh my God, this girl is so weird.
She definitely did like a fake call to make her feel uncomfortable and was like, she's like, my lookalike is here, and she's like really weird, like in my house, and like she's like staring at me and making me uncomfortable. I'm sure Natalie, she like at that point was like, all right, I gotta dye my hair.
I gotta find an exit strategy. I need to pivot.
My lookalike is so weird.
So now we'll move on to page 78, which is, we have our centerfold, the classic Playboy centerfold. Every issue, you have your gal of the month. We have Miss September, Berlin native, Janine Habeck. I find what is so interesting about the centerfolds is, these are all across the board, not famous people. Like, yes, there are plenty of famous people who would choose to be models in the magazine, but they were never centerfolds. They were never the girl of the month. They were never the playmate of the month. And yet, they almost set up the centerfolds as like the girlfriend experience.
Oh, okay, yeah.
You have a whole article with them where they're talking about themselves. You get to know them. And then there's also their playmate data sheet where, you get their name, their measurements, their weight, birthday, and then like their ambitions, their turn-offs, their turn-ons, and then some like little questions. And then this was another thing that was always strange when you really think about it. In this one, it's not so bad, but they would always have on the data sheet like a couple of little photos at the bottom of it, and there would always be a photo of them as a little girl.
Oh, yes.
And this one is not so bad. It's just her with her low ponytail, fresh from soccer practice or something. But other times they would have pictures of them like in a bathtub or like in a little bathing suit, which, and we won't get into this, but Playboy has a long history of some really inappropriate stuff, content, pictures, etc., of underage, like very underage girls.
And cough, cough, Brooke Shields, cough, cough.
Cough, cough. But yeah, so that was always like a really weird part of the magazine, is it was like, and here's how you can picture this naked 24-year-old as like a half-naked little girl.
It's so, oh God. I just want to start by saying that I'm not a fan of this photo shoot whatsoever. Like, I don't even like it 1%. I hate this photo shoot. And there's just something about, you and I talked about this, I don't remember what issue it was, but we had talked about how there was just like this period of the early 2000s where everything just felt cheap. Everything felt just kind of uninspired when it comes to stuff like this. Like, ads felt a lot cheaper. Like, I don't know. And this photo shoot is just like so early 2000s, but like in the worst kind of way. It's so uninspired. There's no theme. It's just like they're at a hotel, basically. They are at a hotel and they took a bunch of pictures in a hotel room. Also,
this like early 2000s hotel culture, I feel like in the early 2000s, every hotel started renovating because like, they started off in probably like the 70s or 60s or 70s. And then it's like, well, we have to modernize. And then everything just becomes so ugly. And this is like on page 84, they have her just laying on top of a bedspread. And it is just Macy's as hell. It is bed in a bag. ugliest gold embroidered something you'd find in your parents' guest room type of bedspread.
It's the kind of bed in a bag where you take the comforter out and you realize that it's just for show. There's no way that a person could pull it up over their body and like have it be on them throughout the night. Like it is so Bed Bath & Beyond. It's just like there's absolutely no theme to this photo shoot whatsoever. And that's like my biggest pet peeve. Like I'm a theme forward girl. I love a concept, a theme. Why not give this beautiful German woman, and like you've made like her being German, like the whole thing, German it up. I'm sure she would have loved it.
And this is so weird, but I do feel like Lederhosen is weird. Like milkmaid stuff was weirdly sexualized in the early 2000s. I mean, I'm sure they still have it today, but I guess I just remember so vividly like going to a Spencer's Gifts and getting a costume and a bag, and like the slutty German milkmaid was a canonical costume. It's like, why aren't we doing that here?
2 points. First of all, there's literally an advertisement for beer, whatever. What's that movie called? Beer Fest?
Beer Fest, yeah.
There's an ad in this very magazine for Beer Fest with 2 girls in those sexy outfits. And I will also say, I personally think that aside from Charlie's Angels Full Throttle, I think Bridget is like very much to thank for that, because you know that era of Girls Next Door where like the stuff before they had their like Leg Avenue endorsement.
Yeah.
It was like stuff that they wore became Leg Avenue costumes. So it only made sense that Leg Avenue would then have them model and come up with their own themes and stuff. Because like those like sexy referee and sexy, like those were all like Playboy inspired outfits, you know?
Yeah, for sure. No, it feels so phoned in. I mean, it's just like, she's just like awkwardly holding a champagne glass in one photo.
Glamour, beauty, grace.
Like in another picture, she inexplicably has, oh my God, actually, I never really like drilled down on this. It looks to me like it looks like she's standing in front of a window, but then when you see like there's a bit of glass in front of her, and I'm pretty sure she's at like the shower door.
Yeah.
Like that's a shower door handle. And then she inexplicably has a belly chain resting on her butt and elbow length gloves. You know, the classic shower accoutrement. Oh wait, I guess it's a sliding glass door. But still, I guess she's chilly outside on the balcony and needs her gloves.
Darling, could you get my satin gloves? I'm cold.
Oh, it's so cold.
And my belly chain. I don't want to go out naked.
I'm a lady after all.
No, it sucks. But it's fun to know that when we do other Playboys that this is a reoccurring segment that we'll always be able to talk about the centerfold, because sometimes the centerfold shoots are so beautiful and so iconic.
Oh, another thing that I just remembered is, so I forget which episode of Girls Next Door. It's one of the later ones where Holly is an intern working at the magazine, but they discuss like Hef's big thing was that he liked to have, quote, the presence of a man in the photos. So there would be like a glass of like whiskey,
like a tie,
something like, or a cigar, like just in the frame. I feel like this is what counts as the presence. Is in one of the photos she's holding the telephone.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too.
She's in a hotel and she's talking to her boyfriend, having phone sex.
And it's like an old timey telephone too. It's like a dialer phone. So yeah, I think the phone is because I always look for the touch of a man and then the hidden bunny.
Oh yeah, the hidden bunny.
But I couldn't find it. I couldn't find anything.
Now I am seeing a landing strip. I just opened the. So also another really interesting way to track history in a sort of offbeat way is like the trend of pubic hair. Right now, we're at a moment where people are, for the first time, completely like taking it all off or like having just a teeny tiny landing strip, the very practical landing strip.
The landing strip defines our teenage years. I mean, that was the vibe, like to just either be completely bald or have like a teensy toons little itty bitty amount of hair. Tink.
If you don't have the landing strip, how will the plane know where to go?
You have to guide your man, ladies.
So before we get to the cover story, we're going to touch on a couple ads. One of them on page 13 was, of course, as we just mentioned, the Beer Fest movie. Not sure how deep we need to get into that, but that is one thing to just keep in mind, the era that we are in.
Yeah. It's also important to note that the ads so obviously ads in any magazine are like geared towards the reader, but it's very interesting with Playboy because you see ads that you see all the time sort of sexed up or made undeniably for a man. Like they'll take a product that like is not like there's this Patron Silver ad and above it says blondes, brunettes, redheads. Some perfection is debatable, and some is not. Made by hand from 100% blue agave, the world's #1 ultra premium tequila. So they took a Patron ad and geared it towards men, and you see that a lot. Like the ads really describe like the vibe and the culture.
Well, and that's interesting that you say that too, because I would say it's even more niche down than just men, because I feel like an ad that you would see in Maxim, I feel like is not the same ad that you would see in Playboy. Like Maxim early 2000s ads would be like, I feel the really ugly type Axe body spray shit. Really tacky, and a bunch of girls just like, oh, you smell good, wanna fuck?
Yeah.
And like a completely silly like tableau. But like in this one, when you open the cover up, like the Absolute vodka it's sleek. It's just a bottle in front of a 2-page black background, just shiny black, a sleek bottle. Like, oh, this is highbrow. This is for a Playboy.
Well, it plays to Hef's James Bond thing.
Oh, absolutely.
Well,
so James Bond, like what Hef thought of himself as a Playboy, but really it was who he had always been modeling himself to be, that I don't think was ever truly who he was. But his aspirational view of the Playboy is James Bond. And in the 60s, he published, before the movies came out, published like one of the short stories from the writer of James Bond, like a James Bond short story. And then throughout the years of the magazine, there was so much reference to James Bond. So yeah, the Playboy was James Bond. He wasn't just simply, a 20-year-old fuckboy. He is a man.
And he's like well-read and distinguished, and he's well-spoken, and he's articulate, and, he's funny and charming, and like,
in one of the product pages, they suggest a $3,500 backgammon board.
Oh, yeah. They're like a $4,000 screen that only plays Casablanca. It's the only thing in the jukebox, baby. There's also this Evan Williams, which is like a Kentucky bourbon, like a bourbon whiskey. And this is so Playboy. It's on page 17. So it says on the left side, there's a woman in like a vintage bathing suit where she's completely covered up.
Oh my God, yes.
And it says, the longer you wait. And then on the other side, there's a woman in like a bikini. It says, the better it gets. It's like, if you just wait it out, the women become more slutty and the whiskey gets better.
Wow.
Even there's another one on page, actually right after it, for like a suit company, Giorgio Bruntini. And it's so like, it's a man standing in like a horrific like Steve Harvey suit, and he's got a woman on his shoulder, and there's like almost no thought put into the ad. And I think that's what bothers me about the early 2000s ads. It's like, not only do they look and feel cheap, a lot of them, it just feels like not as much thought was put into being clever or,
Yeah.
you know, I don't know. They're just kind of lazy.
This is just conjecture. I'm just riffing here. I almost wonder if, you know, I feel like when we look back on ads from the 70s, the 80s, the 90s, the sort of what feels like kitsch is so charming to us. And I wonder if when we get to the early 2000s, it's like, no, we can't do kitsch. It has to be like they think they're doing something more modern.
Yeah.
And like kitsch is retro and stupid. I wonder if that's part of it, but nobody has any taste in the early 2000s, so it doesn't really come across.
Yeah, definitely. It's like they're trying to, like, I think you're right. They're trying to be more modern and also more sort of like, just sort of straightforward about their advertising.
Yeah.
There's no like, you know, like those old ads you look at and you kind of have to tilt your head sometimes and squint and like, then you get the joke and you're like, oh, that's so clever that they, you know, you don't ever have to do that with early 2000s ads. Like,
No.
I mean, the Axe comparison I think is the best, where it's like, I said this in one of our other episodes, but it's like this reoccurring theme through Axe and through like Bedhead and Bod and all these different, you know, even like body washes and stuff, where it's like this nerdy, unattractive in quotes, he's a nerd because he has glasses on, this nerdy guy who's surrounded by women that are dying to fuck him because he used Axe body wash or whatever. And it's like literally so many companies used that same thing. It was so uninspired, but you would see it everywhere.
Yeah. It was like the sort of going from the Mad Men era of, you know, really like thinking about a campaign and storyboarding it and like having a backstory to whatever you're doing, sort of melted down to nothing, where it's just like sex sells. And the story is, if you wear this Axe body spray, girls want to fuck you.
The story is the geek gets the girl. So he's a geek and he's surrounded by girls and they all want him. It's like, okay.
I want to point out this ad because it kind of, to me, relates to the Girls Next Door. It's on page 53, and it's for 3 Olives vodka. This vodka is just the plain regular vodka, but I remember 3 Olives really being known for their flavored vodka. And point number 1 is, I remember this time period through like early 2010s, the flavored vodka being such a huge fucking deal. Number 1. And related to that, I remember 3 Olives had a bubblegum vodka. And I remember Bridget said her favorite drink was 3 Olives bubblegum vodka mixed with Prosecco. And honey, if that wasn't my signature drink for a brief moment in time.
The flavored so if you're Gen Z and you didn't live through this time, literally sit down and let grandma and grandpa tell you a tale, okay? Get a snack. Because so the culture at the time was binge drinking, right? We were a binge drinking generation.
So don't make fun of us because our brains are eroded.
Where our brains are literally cooked and pickled from fucking bubblegum vodka. But like the vibe was very much like, we take 1 million shots a night. So how amazing that this vodka tastes like whipped cream.
Yes.
And we can drink a lot of it.
Oh my God. And there was such a culture to it of, oh, we got to try this kind and this kind. And I remember, I'm pretty sure it was Absolute. They had flavored vodkas that were specific to different cities.
Oh, yes. Oh, fuck.
If you were like going to a certain city, it was like, oh my God, did they have, like, I remember the Boston Absolute flavored vodka was tea flavored.
My God, Dara. Oh my God. Oh, I just got acid reflux. Oh God. My heart. I have heartburn. No.
But also the flavors were fucking insane. Like it started out as just simply like mandarin orange. Like, oh yes, completely understandable. 3 Olives and God, there was this other brand I can
Pinnacle?
see. Pinnacle, yes. Fucking Pinnacle. And they had like salted caramel pretzel and like
caramel apple,
like all this shit, and I would be like, ooh, yummy, and then I would taste it and I'd be like, this just tastes like alcohol, and I would prefer maybe just the salted caramel pretzel.
We were loyal to bubblegum and whipped cream because they both literally tasted like it. Like the bubblegum one literally just tasted like straight up just bubblegum. It was good.
And honestly, the bubblegum vodka mixed with Prosecco fucking slapped.
Yeah. Yeah, flavored vodka, just to kind of give you a comparison, in the way that like seltzers had like their moment, just like for the past few years, it's been like seltzer crazy. That was like how popular flavored vodkas were. And it was like, they were definitely marketed towards young girls, but like not openly.
Yeah. Well, I was reading something recently about how women's drinking habits and binge drinking habits have escalated over the years. And one of the reasons for it was the seltzers, to have something that's like good tasting and you can really throw them back. I feel like the beginning of that, was the flavored vodkas. But in the long run, it's hard to like keep throwing back whipped cream flavored vodka. Like a seltzer is much easier to get down. This is how like alcoholic we all were. And I went to college in Boston, so we would do this a lot. We would get a pumpkin beer in the fall, and then we would put a shot of whipped cream vodka in it because the beer was not enough.
Oh, God. Yeah, the 8% beer was just not enough.
Like, that is how crazy it was.
Oh, my. I mean, you had me at pumpkin beer. Like, being like, oh, we're having classy beers. Like, we're adults.
And it has cinnamon sugar on the rim.
Yeah. Would you like yours rimmed? Like, yeah, pinkies up, bitch. Pinkies up.
Should we move on to the cover story?
Let's do it. Love thy neighbor.
Page 111.
Of course, they were photographed by Arnie. And I will say, before we get into, because these pictures are very themed and we both obviously are going to have a lot of thoughts about them. What is very disappointing about this article is that there's like basically nothing written about them. Like, I haven't looked at this in a very long time. And of course, like all I really remember is like the photos. So I was really excited to open it up and read the article and be like, go back in time and get like quotes and stuff. But there's about 3 sentences for each girl. And there's just nothing. It just like, this is like a major issue. This issue is huge. This is like, we were all running out and buying this in droves. And like, to not include any interview with the girls is like, just kind of shows what Hef thought of them.
He shouldn't underestimate who's going out and buying these issues, because this is already the second issue. Like, I feel like he probably had already seen that fans of the show were going out to buy the magazine. And despite that, you know, like everything that's said in this article is like total sound bites that we've heard a million times at this point. Bridget has her master's degree and totally no new information, which is crazy when you look at the Centerfolds article. You know, it's still silly little anecdotes, kind of akin to the Pop Star magazine we discussed last episode, where it's like, what do you like to do for fun? But still, it's like, that's what we want to hear about from the girls, and it's kind of just like a bit of an ad for the show. Yeah,
it's an ad for the show, and it denounces their celebrity and their fame. Like, they are very famous at this point. Like, they are breakout stars. Everybody wants to know. And they're not only breakout stars to like you said, men. They're breakout stars mostly to young girls and gay men. Like, that's who was watching this show. Like, they became really, really famous overnight. And I guess they also, like, you have to factor in that, I guess, that people didn't know how to capitalize correctly on reality television yet. Like,
that's a good point.
You know, they had the bobbleheads and the socks and like all of these weird sort of offshoot spider graph things, but there was it was really hard to like make a reality star to like capitalize on their fame. There weren't as many outlets, but still, this is just a slap in the face.
100%, because we're literally buying it. I mean, we're buying it for the pictures, but we also want to see if there's something in there that we don't know about them. Like, and also because at this point, it's not as if other media outlets were covering them that much. So it was like, oh, this should be something new. And it was like, no, It's actually
need.
like very unceremonious.
Well, I'm going to read this tiny little excerpt by Steve Pond. I mean, it's really not much, but it says, gala premieres and celebratory cast and crew screenings are commonplace in Hollywood, but few advanced screenings are as intriguing or enticing as the one that takes place every time a new episode of The Girls Next Door arrives at the Playboy Mansion. Playboy editor-in-chief Hugh M. Hefner takes the disc upstairs to the bedroom, plops down on the bed with the three young women, who also happen to be the stars of the show, and settles in for a private viewing party. For the next half hour, Hef and his girlfriends, Kendra Wilkinson, Holly Madison, and Bridget Marquardt, watch their adventures in Hef's Wonderland, showcased each week on the reality series that became this past year's biggest hit on E! Entertainment Television. No show quite like it has ever aired in the long history of the medium. It provides a look inside the life Hef has created for his dreams and fantasies, as seen through the eyes of three young women who share that unique life. The Girls Next Door, which kicks off its second season this month, has acquired a rabid following and made stars of its three leading ladies. And when it's shown upstairs at the mansion, those stars are apt to view their on-screen exploits with occasional cringing, but mostly with love and laughter. Then again, if you've been watching, you have a good idea of what those private viewing parties are like. You've been inside the mansion, up the stairs, in Hef's bedroom. You've gotten to know Holly, the #1 girlfriend, who has been with Hef for 5 years, and Bridget, the Northern California broadcast journalism graduate student, who has wanted to be in Playboy since she was 4 years old. I love that they advertise that. Like, it's like a weird thing to keep beating down, like, she was looking at it at 4. And Kendra, the free-spirited sports fanatic from San Diego, who at 21 is the youngest of the girlfriends. You've seen their parties, their moods both good and bad, and their place in the often misunderstood world behind the Playboy Mansion gates. Quote, I think the show has rather decidedly changed people's views of my life in the mansion, says Hef. It has had a remarkably humanizing effect on the way people look at me, the girls, and our lives. Honestly, for the most part, that's pretty much it. Like, that's the story of The Girls Next Door, according to Playboy.
Yeah, it's all through Hef's eyes, when really no one was watching it as, oh, Hef's world through the girl's eyes. It was like, what young woman or gay guy gives a shit about a decrepit old man?
At the very most, as young people, we would watch that show and say, oh, he's like not creepy, like he's like nice. You know, like, oh, I bet they don't even have to have sex with him. That's so nice. Like, I remember our friends would say that. Like, he's so cute. I love when Holly makes him laugh. I mean, that was it. Like, that was pretty much it.
That was the weirdest part about it, was how, I don't know, like, how children were able to delude themselves into thinking that, I don't know, that they were genuinely boyfriend and girlfriend, or like, they were genuinely, all three of them were genuinely dating him. And also, there was no sex.
Yeah. And also, they get to do whatever they want, eat whatever they want, 24-hour room service, live in a mansion, and the only responsibility that they have is their dogs.
Yeah. Which is why it's such a brilliant show for a rewatch, because at face value, especially when you watched it in real time, it's like a show about nothing. You know, it's very thin plot-wise, and it's just kind of like, ooh, candy-colored, pretty girls going on trips and, you know, wearing tube socks. I want to wear tube socks. And, like, hanging out by the pool. And then you watch it as an adult with a frontal lobe, and you see all the, if you're really watching for it, you see all of these nuances of how odd things were, how passive-aggressively Hef was treating them. It's so loaded, and everything is subtext.
Everything. And then there's the subtext between the girls. It's almost like if you were a part of girl world as a teenager, which I very much was, dipped my toe in girl world. It's like you would watch it knowing that there's these interrelationships that you have to kind of squint to see. Like, how does Holly really feel about Kendra? And how does Kendra feel about Holly and Bridget's friendship? And how does Bridget feel being like what feels like the third wheel sometimes, or like you know? And like, why do these girls get to live in the house, but they have to beg to be in the magazine? Like, there were just these little things where you'd be like, oh, like you would realize that they're not being treated as well as you think. I will also say one thing that I think was really subconscious and very planted, but like meant to just like invoke a feeling more so than a conversation, was their relationships to their animals. And it's been very validating to hear Bridget and Holly talk about that, because I've always thought that the show presented what they would be like as moms through their dogs. And like, you know, you have like, and their relationships to their dogs were like so, like such a big part of the show. And Gizzy, the cat. But you know, like the way that Kendra was with like her dogs versus Bridget and Holly was just so different, but it was such a big part of, and it bonded them that they all had dogs, you know?
Well, and not just the dogs, but Coco. Coco.
Well, let's talk about the themes of these photos.
Yes.
Obviously, we start with the group shot, which is, I always love to see Bridget making her iconic sexy face. It is so iconic. I love the group shot. I think it's like really cool.
Oh, I love that under the title, Kendra's hand is like outside of the window, and they have the G in the first letter of the article. Like they make it look like she's holding on to it.
Mm-hmm. It's really, really cool. It's like, I just like love these pictures. I really do. And then of course they all got to choose their theme. Not to be confused, by the way, because I originally was like, I remember, for some reason I have these vivid memories of the calendar. Of them shooting the calendar, and like Holly doing the shoot with Banana the snake from the VMAs, and then like the underwater thing, and like Bridget like on the broomstick for October, and like
Kendra doing Christina Aguilera in Dirty.
Yeah. That's probably my all-time favorite Girls Next Door photo shoot episode. But this is a very close second.
Yeah, the first one is Kendra's, of course, football Chargers themed.
She's a tomboy. I don't know if you know that or not.
I don't know if you guys know that. She plays sports. But I do love, my favorite part in the football spread is Holly and Bridget with their cheerleading outfits with their little butts.
Yeah, it's very cute.
I mean, it's honestly like, again, this feels so not sexual. It's like I could show this to a child.
I guess maybe the fantasy is that the girl next door is secretly a whore. And it's like, the whole point is that you imagine how nasty they are when they're not trying to be cute in public.
Yeah, 100%. And again, context-wise, we have a lot less access to pornography. So a little boop is very sexy at this time. And also, I would say, specifically, if you were watching the show, it's like, oh, I know who these people are. I want to see them naked.
And imagine them having sex with Hef.
Oh, yeah.
And then the next shoot is Holly's, which is a Gentlemen Prefer Blondes style photo shoot where she's themed like Marilyn Monroe, and it's just absolutely stunning. It goes back to what we were saying earlier, like the lighting is just, I mean, the art of lighting can be studied in Playboy. It is just unbelievable how well lit these photos are. And you can tell that they're shot on film. They're just stunning. And I love Holly's shoot. I just think it's so, there's a picture of her like with her legs up on the stairs, like the iconic Gentlemen Prefer Blonde scene. And there's a spotlight on her. It's unbelievable.
And it is also amazing. You know, this is a very, very simple set. It's painted stairs, and, you know, the costumes are cuffs and gloves and hats.
Right.
But yet it feels so, I don't know, like it feels so three-dimensional just by the lighting and having the spotlight, and like having the spotlight, and then you can see the shadows of Kendra and Bridget's arms, and then like Holly's breast, like a shadow coming off of, like, it's, you know, it's very well executed.
And Holly like bedazzled all of their like Chippendales cuffs and stuff, and it's like there's something sort of like campy and like goofy but also really cute about it. Like it's very sort of like kitschy.
Well, and also she ordered the wig that she wears in it, which is so funny because you would think they'd be like, oh no, we have our hair people, we procured you a wig, we're going to do a wig test and try a bunch of wigs on you. And it's like, no, they just have Holly out there on her own, like picking her wig out, bedazzling.
Well, you know that she also probably just went to like Bing or like Ask Jeeves and was like Marilyn Monroe wig. I can't even imagine what Leg Avenue Halloween costume fucking bag it came in. It was in 2006. Like, we've come a very long way with hair systems, but in 2006, especially for white girls, it was a very, very scarce situation.
Holly does say on Girls Next Level, where they discuss this episode, yeah, she wasn't happy with the wig.
Mm-hmm.
And then the next spread is Bridget's King Kong. I love this one. It's my favorite.
Me too. This is definitely my favorite. Like, I am contemplating trying to find this photo so that I can like hang it. Like, I just think that this is so cool.
One of the photos, it's King Kong's hand, like a huge hand, and she is lying atop it. And you see it in the episode, like, you know, it's like a real hand prop that they created. It's not just like, oh, we're shoving some Photoshop under her ass.
And there's just something so 80s about hers. Like, it feels like there's a picture of them all together and they're like in the jungle and you can see King Kong behind her and it's clearly like a screen, but they just look so 80s. It's so camp.
Well, and you can see the leaves. It's so very obviously like plastic.
Yeah.
And then also, speaking of presence of a man, I love how they do that with King Kong looking at them.
Oh, I know. It's so in modern day, like they would have just like green screened and like photoshopped, you know, a picture behind them, but like they're in front of an actual image. And it's just, I'm obsessed.
Oh, well, I mean, even just like the smoke coming around the rocks and the mossy rocks. Like, this is what I will say, and I'm very passionate about this, is I want to see more practical effects in movies, in photography. It's okay if it doesn't look completely real. And guess what? When you do CGI, it doesn't look that real anyway.
Absolutely. It's the difference between, like, you know, when people watch like a Marvel movie and they're watching all of this insane CGI and they're sort of like just dead to it. Like, when you watch people in a theater, even like watch a Marvel movie and all of it is CGI, there's no reaction to like the insanity versus like people watching like a Terminator 2 and all of those practical effects and just like, it's like jaw-dropping. And no, it doesn't always look real, but it's the idea that you have to be so creative and like know how to Rubik's Cube it to make it look like something. And that's what this feels like to me. It's just like, it's very like mom and pop. It's kind of lowbrow, but also being highbrow. Like, it's campy, but also insanely lit. And just like, you could tell that there's like so much detail that went into it, but it's also campy.
Yeah, like the way you can see even the lighting in the smoke, like in the foreground, the smoke is gray. In the background, the smoke is lit and it has like a blue cast to it. I will also say a great before and after of practical to CGI is Hocus Pocus 1 to Hocus Pocus 2. Would you prefer to see Sarah Jessica Parker strung up on a broom with mossy rocks underneath her, or do you just want the theoretically more realistic looking CGI? We're choosing practical every time.
Every time. And I think it probably has something to do, which, you know, shout out to Bridget. You and I are both horror movie girls, and I think there's an appreciation for practical when it comes to horror movies, and I just love practical effects. And I mean, you and I have also talked about how funny it is that like like they were still using like old school lighting and like shooting all of this on film.
Yeah.
And most of it really just had to do with Hef like not wanting things to change. But like also Arnie was like the king of shooting old school photos, you know? Like,
yeah.
Cannot emphasize enough how talented that man was.
Yeah, and it's funny too, like there are so many people who shoot their weddings on film, which is thousands and thousands of dollars more expensive.
Mm-hmm.
But the photos are better.
Not comparable.
You know? I hope that in the age of AI, as its impending doom sets in, that as a collective, we start sort of leaning back on the practical and the way we used to do things.
Yeah. Well, it's our only defense against,
Yes.
you know, AI, Joe Biden, like, talking about how he's feeling cunt on the internet. Like, it's a lot.
Listen, if you want to see a celebrity in sexual positions, go out and hire their doppelganger, okay?
Right.
Don't do a deep fake. Please, at least give us that.
Now, I will say, with all the praise that we've given this photo shoot, the last picture, I absolutely despise. I fucking hate this picture. So they're all like laying on a couch that looks like it's like in the like workout room of the mansion, to be honest with you. Like it looks like that couch that Holly like removed. Bridget is laying on the back of the couch. She looks completely unenthused. I don't know why they chose that picture. She's like bored.
I feel like they almost did that to fuck with her.
I would not be surprised because it's a genuinely really not good photo of a beautiful woman.
Yeah.
And then you have Holly who's laying on the couch and she, you know, they're always trying to find ways to like playfully incorporate each other. Like, we're playful with each other. I'm holding the string of Bridget's lingerie. And Holly has her fall on. So she's wearing her like iconic Kim Zolciak hairpiece at the time. Then out of nowhere, you have Kendra who's like in a Hustler photo.
Yeah.
She's like masturbating.
And also her face is airbrushed within an inch of its life. I mean, she almost looks animated.
She really does look like a CG. It's like Pixar. Who chose this photo?
Well, Hef. I mean, I feel like this was one for you, one for you, one for you, and one for me.
Yeah. Old school, baby.
We can't let anyone forget that you're not three individuals with your own interests. You're fucking mine.
It really does give Hef's choice. It's like they didn't choose this picture. There's absolutely no chance in hell that they had any say over that.
Oh, I think they talk about it in the podcast episode that like they hated this shit because it was like, oh, we're all like fucking each other.
Mm-hmm.
But also unrelated to that, Kendra's pose, I would love to see like a flip book of Playboy poses because in the Paris spread, I'm pretty sure she's doing the exact same pose on the bed. And I bet there was just like, here's some signature poses that you put one hand on the belly button, one hand just between the legs. Oh, we're just about to press the doorbell, but I don't know if anybody's home.
Oops. And then her face is like, it's like, make sure that you open your mouth and make it look like you're having the big O. Ooh, you're climaxing. It's very, Kendra is in a different photo shoot. It's giving Hustler. It's giving...
And then Holly is just like the senior photo smile.
Holly was the chaperone of the shoot. Like, she's like literally just like, hey girl, hey. She's giving that. And then Bridget doesn't want to be there. It's genuinely the worst. And it kind of, to me, it feels like a continuation of their first cover, like the black sheets.
Yeah, which if you watch the episode, you know that inexplicably, Hef wanted to do their second photo shoot on the bed, on the round bed, with the sheets, which is the exact same shoot they did for the first one. And this was shot within a year of the first cover, and he just wanted to do the same thing because it was his bed and it was his girlfriend's.
I hate it so much. I hate it so much. Especially in comparison to like their other photos where they're like so themed and like really cool and well thought out.
And you can see it on their faces, like how much fun they're having. And like,
Yeah.
And this is, they're all just a touch dead behind the eyes.
Yeah. They're like, all right, finish it up, Arnie. We're done.
Is there anything more to say? I mean, I feel like we could spend a month going page by page, but of course we cannot.
No, I think that we covered it all. And I'm just really, this was like so major and such a big deal for both of us. And I'm just excited that we finally got to our first Playboy and it's official. And it's such an iconic one.
This is the first Playboy, but it certainly won't be the last. I have a Playboy from the 70s with Bernadette Peters on the cover, you know, and let me tell you, old Playboys, there is some shit between those pages.
I have so many random ones. Shannon Doherty, Brigitte Nielsen. Like, I think at this point I have all of Pam's. I think that I've collected. I think I have them all.
Do you have the Conehead one?
Yeah.
Oh,
I do.
Oh my God, I want that framed.
Yeah, I do have that one. My favorite, of course, is I think her first is like unreal. The one when she's in the cowboy boot and she's so cute. And then she has like a scarf tied around her cowboy boot that has the bunny ears. Oh, so cute.
But this is, as far as Troy and I as a unit, as sisters, this is a special one.
It's a milestone. And you guys know, if you've listened to us, you know, you've been waiting for this episode and we appreciate it. And we hope that you loved it as much as you thought you would.
As much as we enjoyed making it.
We love you very, very much. Of course, if you're not on our Patreon, you can look at this magazine in full on Patreon. You can see Kendra's O-face and her masturbating in this photo shoot. And we have all kinds of fun bonus stuff over there. We've done some quizzes from pop teen magazines.
Like extended, where we do other articles from the magazines that we did in the main feed. So, you know, there's a lot of fun over there. A lot of fun to be had.
And we just love you very, very much. Thank you guys so much for listening to our show, for being supportive. We are digitally kissing you on the cheek.
Ooh.
And we will see you next week.
We'll see you next time. Bye.
Acast powers the world's best podcasts. Here's a show that we recommend.
Do you like being educated on things that entertain but don't matter? Well, then you need to be listening to the podcast with Knox and Jamie. Every Wednesday, we put together an episode dedicated to delightful idiocy to give your brain a break from all the serious and important stuff.
Whether we're deep diving a classic movie, dissecting the true meanings behind the newest slang, or dunking on our own listeners for their bad takes or cringy stories, we always approach our topics with humor and just a little bit of side-eye, and we end every episode with recommendations on all the best new movies, books, TV shows, or music.
To find out more, just search up the podcast with Knox and Jamie wherever you listen to podcasts and prepare to make Wednesday your new favorite day of the week.
Acast helps creators launch, grow, and monetize their podcasts everywhere. Acast.com.